So before we go, not a goodbye, but a see you later. Longtime King 5 reporter Glenn Farley is signing off.
No. Glenn is retiring after almost 36 years of reporting here in Seattle. He has given us a front row seat to some of the biggest stories in the Northwest, across the country and around the globe. And tonight, we celebrate his remarkable career.
The 1980 eruption of Mount St. Helens.
If you've watched our broadcasts for a long time, or even just a few short months,
we waste 47 million gallons of gasoline.
You've seen Glenn Farley's reporting. For more than 3 decades, Glenn has covered the major headlines in every corner of Washington.
Here on the west side of the state, in Moses Lake, Glenn Farley, King 5 News.
And across the globe.
This is the big coming out party for the Russian aerospace industry.
And moments in history that changed our lives forever.
That's where the landslide debris came from.
King 5 hired Glenn Farley 36 years ago to report on something he has loved all his life, aviation. He grew up under one of the approaches for Chicago's O'Hare International Airport, saying, "There were practically tire tracks on my parents' roof."
It was wrong, and we all know that.
He's been the expert for major stories in the industry, from the launch of Boeing's most high-tech airliners to the unfortunate and devastating crashes.
But what we don't know is how this night started out.
Considered criticisms of the FAA.
He covered the unprecedented grounding of the 737 MAX.
But did she get answers enough from Boeing today?
Once, he even broke a world record, flying across the globe in a 777.
Here in the cockpit, everything that the pilots do is critical to making the world record.
So what do you need in your own home disaster preparedness kit?
When he's not in the sky, Glenn's working to keep your family safe, making sure you're prepared for the next natural disaster.
This was the site of Washington's last major earthquake.
He was here in 2001 when the Nisqually earthquake shook Seattle.
The massive air assault has begun in earnest now, shock and awe.
In 2003, it was war that took Glenn on assignment.
But it can be used as a platform to mount attacks on U.S. troops.
Glenn and his decades-long photojournalist partner, Dave Wyke, were embedded with the 555th Engineer Brigade, the Triple Nickel, based at JBLM. Glenn and Dave spent a month reporting nearly every day from Iraq, telling the stories of Washington soldiers, sharing the uncertainty they faced during this new war.
So that is the south opening here.
Now, while his adventures at King are wrapping up,
And for me, too, there's a connection with this airplane. Because
we know there will be plenty more ahead.
Glenn Farley, King 5 News.
And Glenn's here. Your final thoughts on your last day?
Well, my final thought is thanking all of you who put up with me, who watched all this stuff for more than 35 and a half years here. It's been great. I mean, this has been like the world's best job, but it is time to move to the next phase. And I'm looking forward to that. But I promise not to be a stranger. I may pop up from here from time to time.
As much as we've tried to talk you out of it.
Yeah, I know. I don't know if that's going to work, but I mean, it's sort of my more like ta-ta for now kind of a deal.
How do you go back and pick out, because I've had people ask me, oh, what's your favorite story you've ever done? Is there any way to, with all of the thousands of stories you've done, can you pick a top one?
There's not a top one. I mean, there's a lot of very cool things. I mean, you saw a bunch of them there. I mean, one of the things that I really enjoyed was all these flights that we did on B-17s, because my grandfather was in charge of the 398th, or part of the 398th bomb group in England during World War II, and he was like handling all the parts and everything for the maintenance and how they rebuilt these airplanes. I got all of his pictures and everything else, and they would rebuild these hammered airplanes from all the flak overnight, and they'd be back up the next morning.
You've literally been part of so much history here in the Northwest and at King and in television. I mean, you've seen so much change.
Yeah.
We talked about you were hired when Dorothy Bull was still here.
You know, remember those yellow Post-it note kind of things saying while you were out? I remember those. And for you youngins out there, that's how it used to be, you know. So, you know, there was no phone mail, you know.
No cell phones.
I barely missed film. So that's how long I've been in the business. So, you know.
Do you feel like you've been
over
part of
40
history?
years. Yeah. Yeah, in a lot of ways. I mean, here in the Northwest history, I mean, the amount of change that I've seen here in Western Washington, I've seen in the city of Seattle, has just been astounding. And covering, you know, my main responsibility here was covering Boeing. It's not the only thing that I did, but I mean, just a company that was so engaged in the world is why we went to so many places most of the time.
I've seen a lot of reporters trying to soak up a lot of the stuff that's in here, and
Well, it was accumulated. It's kind of like dust and cobwebs, you know, and eventually you get enough of it, and you know, it starts to add up.
We had a goodbye party for Glenn yesterday, and I think most everyone said, in terms of journalism, you have been more than a mentor to so many, more than a teacher. Really, when you talk about a master class in journalism, you are the epitome of that. But you've also been such a great friend, really a great friend to all of us, and we've all learned so much from you. Saying thank you is just so inadequate because
Right.
It's been a privilege to work next to you, and we just couldn't say thank you enough, and we wish you the very best.
Thank you, all of you, and thank you, the viewers at home who put up with me again for all of these decades.
Good luck. We're going to miss you.
I'm going to miss you.
We'll stay in touch.